My name is Rob Thacker. I'm the music director here. We're going to begin by singing hymn 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Please rise in body or spirit.
Good morning, everyone. We're so glad you're here. I'm going to start with announcements. First of all, in your order of service, I want to call to your attention that the Covenant Big Discussion is next Sunday after service. There will be food, childcare if you need it, and we will have a draft covenant to discuss and talk about, so we sure hope everyone will show up for that. You can see the links here for how to join online as well. It will be a multi-platform discussion, so want to highlight that. Then I want to ask you to stop at the table in Crow Pfeiffer after the service to sign up to come to Circle Supper Potlucks, our community dinners that we host for each other. If you're hosting, make sure to sign up to attend someone else's dinner as well. If you've joined St. John's in the last year or started attending during 2025, we especially would love to have you join a dinner. It's a great way to meet people. We have 28 spots left, including 2 spots at a dinner that's coming up soon on February 7th. So if that date works for you, grab one of those spots. Rich, you want to make your way this way up here? I also want to highlight that this is an odd item here. There are pictures on the tables in Crow Pfeiffer that you can take if you're interested. So don't miss that. Rich?
Hi. My name is Rich. I'm in charge of Coffee and Conversation, or not, our coffee hour after church. And I'm just making a quick announcement that we need helpers to help Jeff after the coffee hour is finished. You'll be here about 45 minutes or an hour after the service. It's a lot of work. We can't expect him to do it all by himself. And there's a new sign-up sheet out there for January, February, and March. And so please sign up for a Sunday. If you have any questions, you can ask me or Jeff about that. And also, real quickly, as I noticed on the announcements here, the February forum next week, Ann Scher is going to talk about end-of-life care, and so that's going to be really good. So come to that.
Making a plug for it there, Ann. Way to go, Rich. Stephen, would you like to come up and make an announcement this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Last March, you all helped me put on a production of my opera Forward into Light, which was about the suffragist movement. I just wanted to say, so last week you may have seen a different face at the piano. That was because last week I was in Boston at the National Opera Association conference, presenting the opera to multiple companies and schools around the U.S. And because of that production, we did get a couple of some traction. So I just wanted to say thank you with the deepest gratitude. So yeah.
And that was, I believe, was funded with the endowment funds, right? Yeah, with our music endowment fund. So, yay. All right. Now, speaking of money, because you know me. So I'm sure you're wondering, you're ready, you're wanting to know the latest update on the Capitol campaign, right? Yes, I heard one yes out there. Thank you, whoever you were. Well, the good news does just keep on coming. We have some good numbers to tell you today. You know, we set a goal of raising, 2 weeks ago, of raising $250,000. And in the past 2 weeks, we've already raised $87,150. Woo! That's 35% of what we need to raise. And it's probably about 35% of the donors that we hope to have as well. This means we've also already earned $174,000 of the $500,000 matching grant. Okay? So, can we do this? We can do this. But we need your pledge to reach the goal, all right? So please pledge today. There's a QR code in your program. The table's out there. You can talk with Bill Lurson, Nancy Johnson, Winnie Goodridge, or me. We are the Capitol Campaign team. So thank you. All right, with that, I will turn it to Erica.
Our opening words today are Wake Up by the Reverend Christian Smith. Let us wake up, not just from Sunday morning exhaustion, from the wish for a few more drowsy minutes in bed. Let us wake up to this world we live in, to its beauty and wonder, and also to its tragedy and pain. We must wake up to this reality, that not all in our world have what we do, however much or little that is. We must wake up to the ideal that our wholeness, our lives, are only as complete as the lives of those around us, of those we are inextricably tied to in a great web of mutuality, of which all of us are a part. We must #stay woke, in the words of our friends and colleagues involved in Black Lives Matter, working every day for justice in our country. Let us wake up, let us stay awake, let us #stay woke. And now, in this time and place, let us worship together. Sorry.
Okay, our chalice lighting words this morning are from the Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson. The great turning in these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the great turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name.
Greetings to you all, and welcome to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church and our celebration today of the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm Erica Strauss, Vice President of the Board and the Worship Associate today. Our minister, the Reverend Jen Grayson, is away. This special service will not feature a sermon, but instead a series of readings from Dr. King's Ware lecture, quote, "Don't Sleep Through the Revolution," presented at the 1966 UUA General Assembly. The service will include an interactive Q&A related to his life and work. We are so delighted that you are here to join in. St. John's welcomes you to bring your whole self to this community, whatever your race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, ability or disability, whatever spiritual path you are on or off. We treasure the rich diversity of our community. Whoever you are welcome here. A very warm greeting to any visitors. We hope you will find a home and a community here. If you have questions, please talk to our greeters who can help you find any information you are looking for. Also, check out the information in the lobby and in our fellowship hall, where many of us will line up for coffee and snacks after the service. For now, please settle in, put your phones on silent. Again, we are so glad that you are here. Thank you.
Please rise and body your spirit as we sing hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
And please read our affirmation with me. I think it will be there. Yes. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands.
Every week, we make time in our service to ground ourselves in what we value. We celebrate and honor our joys and concerns by coming forward to place stones representing all that we carry into the sand of our shared community. If you would like to share a joy or concern and have it be read, please leave that on the table. And if you are online this morning, please feel free to enter a joy or concern in the chat, and we will share them from the pulpit. Thank you. turned on. So many joys and sorrows in our hearts this morning, but none to share publicly, so we all hold them within ourselves. Huh? Yes, online included, so thank you all. So Mary Lynn, you want to?
I invite you to find a moment of calm as I share a meditation by Kathleen Rollins. Spirit of justice, God who befriends those who stand upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone, We are grateful to be together this morning. We gather especially to remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but not only him, for there were thousands of unnamed women and men who put their bodies and lives on the line so that all may be free. And yet freedom comes at a cost. And we know that racism and homophobia, ageism and ableism, sexism, classism, all of these often unacknowledged realities prevent us from fully knowing one another, from creating the beloved community spoken of by prophets and ordinary persons alike. May the work of Dr. King continue to eradicate injustice wherever and whenever we encounter it. May we continue to speak out against injustice, to speak even if we are afraid our words will not be heard or welcomed. May the spirit of Dr. King continue to flow through our daily living. May we have the courage of Dr. King as we continue to stand up for justice, reconciliation, and truth, despite challenge and controversy. Dr. King went to the mountaintop. He saw the promised land, and he reassured us that we will get there one day. May that be no dream, but a reality in our own time. May it be so. Amen. And now, next, we all invite children and anyone young in spirit or heart to join us for our Story for All Ages. We invite, okay, I'll figure this out. We invite the children or anybody who would like to come forward. I also choked up when I was practicing reading this story, so we'll see how this goes. A Sweet Smell of Roses by Angela Johnson, illustrated by Eric Velasquez. Okay. I'm gonna let them all see the picture. I'll try to help you too. Here we go. After a night of soft rain, there is a sweet smell of roses as my sister Minnie and I slip past Mama's door and out of the house down Charlotte Street. Past the early morning milkman, over the cobbled bridge, and through the curb market. To where everyone waits to march. Minnie and I are only waist high to most of them. Waist high, Minnie and I. Waist high, holding hands and waiting to march. There is a sweet smell of roses as everyone waits for Dr. King to speak. And the colors, bright light from the sun on the flowers beside the road as we listen to Dr. King on the megaphone say, "We are right. We march for equality and freedom." Then we start to march, Minnie and me. We look ahead and walk faster like him, clapping in time with our feet, looking ahead just like him. There is a sweet smell of roses, even as we march past the people who scream and shout and say, "You are not right. Equality can't be yours." Then we just look further down the road and keep holding hands feeling a part of it all, walking our way towards freedom. There is a sweet smell of roses as more people start marching with us, pouring out of the side streets, clapping and singing, "Freedom, freedom!" Then someone picks me up and puts me on his shoulders. Somebody picks Minnie up too, and we are high above everybody, still marching. There is a sweet smell of roses as we all gather in the center of town, all together, all here, listening to Dr. King as the sun gets higher in the sky. He talks about peace and love and nonviolence and change for everybody, and the sun gets higher in the sky. When it's time to go, we skip back hand in hand, Minnie and me singing freedom songs along the streets. Through the curb market, over the cobbled bridge, and past the mailman, to our house on Charlotte Street. There is Mama, worried face, waiting there for us. She smiles after a while, hugging us, and then takes our hands. And as we tell her about the march, the curtains float apart, and there is a sweet smell of roses all through our house. Thank you all. Thank you.
Bring any food to be gathered? Okay, well then we'll sing and the children will gather that and put it in the basket. So.
Joetta Pro, and I'm a member here, and they're working on the microphone. All right, I'll speak louder. Can you hear me now? Yes, okay. So I'm one of a couple people who is going to share with you portions from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's speech that he gave to the Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly in 1966. He was the invited speaker for what is known as the Ware Lecture, which is it is a tradition that goes back to the 1920s of inviting a transformative person of the moment to speak at General Assembly. And we're going to share some of his words. We invite you to also read the whole sermon, and when you do so, I especially encourage you to Google or look up about some of the people he references that you might not know about. So, speaking now as Dr. King. I need to pause to say how delighted I am to be here today and to have the privilege of being with you at this important meeting. And I do want to express my warm personal appreciation to the Reverend Dr. Dana Greeley and other members of the committee who extended the invitation. There are those wonderful moments in life when you speak before a group that is so near and dear to you that you don't feel like you have to engage in the art of persuasion. You don't feel like you are in the midst of strangers. You know that you are with friends. I can assure you that I feel that way tonight. My own personal experience with Unitarian Universalism began when I was a student at Boston University back in the 50s, early 50s. I can remember on several occasions visiting the Arlington Street Unitarian Church, where your distinguished Dr. Greeley pastored at the time. And I can remember beyond that, in the early years of my ministry, indeed beyond that in the early years of the bus boycotts in Montgomery, when 3 of your ministers visited and encouraged me during that very trying and often difficult period. I refer to the Reverends David Cole, Alfred Hawkins, and my dear friend who's on the platform tonight, Reverend Homer Jack. Since that time, I have worked with Dr. Jack in Montgomery, in Ghana, West Africa, in Washington, in the world peace effort, and also in Selma. I also want to acknowledge your massive participation through your Commission on Religion and Race, which focused on the events that occurred in Alabama in 1965. This support expressed itself both before and after the death of your colleague and mine, Unitarian minister, the Reverend James J. Reeb. We grieved at the death of Mr. Reeb, and I was glad to participate in his memorial service at the historic Brown Chapel AME Church in Selma. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which I have the honor of serving as president, participates with the American Friends Service Committee and the Unitarian Universalist Association in the James Reeb Memorial Fund. So far, we have substantially helped the family of Jimmy Lee Jackson and other victims of racial violence. In Chicago, we are also engaged in a campaign to end slums and the conditions that create slums. We are happy to welcome the cooperation of Unitarian Universalists in that movement. So you can see that in many ways, and for a long time now, we have worked together in a very meaningful way. I want to express my personal appreciation for your support, and let me say that it has been of inestimable value to the continuance of our humble efforts. We'll now do our offertory. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much of a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, and reciting our affirmation. It is a reminder that that form of love that we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. The collection will now be graciously and gratefully collected and accepted.
Thank you for the beautiful music. I'm Mary Derner, and I will add some words from Martin Luther King Jr.'s lecture in 1966 at General Assembly. Let me say that I'm happy to be a Ware lecturer and to be a part of the great names that have been in this leadership. It is a real privilege, and I can assure you that it is a real honor to be in this significant lectureship. I would like to use as a subject the church remaining awake during a great revolution. I'm sure that each of you has read that arresting little story from the pen of Washington Irving entitled Rip Van Winkle. One thing that we usually remember about the story of Rip Van Winkle is that he slept 20 years. But there is another point in that story which is almost always completely overlooked. It is the sign on the inn of the little town on the Hudson from which Rip went up into the mountains for his long sleep. When he went up, the sign had a picture of King George III of England. The first president, when he came down, the sign had a picture of George Washington, the first president of the United States. When Rip Van Winkle looked up at the picture of George Washington, he was amazed. He was completely lost. He knew not who he was. This incident reveals to us that the most striking thing about the story of Rip Van Winkle is not merely that he slept 20 years, but he slept through a revolution. While he was peacefully snoring up in the mountains, a revolution was taking place in the world that would alter the face of human history. Yet Rip knew nothing about it. He was asleep. One of the great misfortunes of history is that all too many individuals and institutions find themselves in a great period of change and yet fail to achieve the new attitudes and outlooks that the new situation demands. There's nothing more tragic than to sleep through a revolution. And there can be no gainsaying of the fact that a social revolution is taking place in our world today. We see it in other nations in the demise of colonialism. We see it in our own nation in the struggle against racial segregation and discrimination. And as we notice this struggle, we are aware of the fact that a social revolution is taking place in our midst. Victor Hugo once said that there is nothing more powerful in the world than an idea whose time has come. The idea whose time has come today is the idea of freedom and human dignity. And so all over the world, we see something of freedom's explosion. And this reveals to us that we are in the midst of revolutionary times. An older order is passing away, and a new order is coming into being. I must add, considering the times we are in now, may the words that he spoke of freedom's explosion be ours again.
I am reading for you the last part of Reverend Dr. King's 1966 Ware Lecture. I talk a great deal about the need of a kind of divine discontent, and I always mention that there are certain technical words within every science which become stereotypes and cliches. Modern psychology has a word that has become common. It is the word maladjusted. We read a great deal about it. It is a ringing cry of modern child psychology, and certainly we all want to live the well-adjusted, but I must say to you this evening, my friends, there are some things in our nation and in our world to which I am proud to be maladjusted. And I call upon you to be maladjusted, and all people of goodwill to be maladjusted to these things until the good society is realized. I never intend to adjust myself to segregation and discrimination. I never intend to become adjusted to religious bigotry. I never intend to adjust myself to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few, and to leave millions of people perishing on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of prosperity. I must honestly say, however much criticism it brings, that I never intend to adjust myself to the madness of militarism and to the self-defeating effects of physical violence. In a day when Sputniks and Geminis are dashing through outer space and ballistic missiles are carving highways of death through the stratosphere, no nation can win a war. It is no longer a choice between nonviolence and violence. It is now a choice between nonviolence and non-existence. The alternative to disarmament under a strong UN, the alternative to a suspension of nuclear tests, the alternative to a negotiated settlement in Vietnam, and the point of coming to that condition of not bombing the North, the alternative to admitting China may well be a civilization plunged into the abyss of annihilation. And our earthly habitat can be transformed into an inferno that even the mind of Dante could not imagine. Yes, I must confess, I believe firmly that our world is in dire need of a new organization, the International Association for the Advancement of Creative Maladjustment. Men and women as maladjusted as the prophet Amos, who in the midst of injustices of his day cried out in words that echo across the centuries, "Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream." As maladjusted as Abraham Lincoln, who had the vision to see that this nation could not survive half slave, half free. As maladjusted as Thomas Jefferson, who in the midst of an age amazingly adjusted to slavery, cried in words lifted to cosmic proportions, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with a certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." As maladjusted as Jesus of Nazareth, who could say to the men and women of his day, "He who lives by the sword shall perish by the sword." Through such maladjustment, we will be able to emerge from the bleak and desolate midnight of man's inhumanity to man into the bright and glittering daybreak of freedom and justice. Let me say in conclusion that I have not despaired of the future. I believe firmly that we can solve this problem. I know that there are still difficult days ahead, and they are days of glorious opportunity. Our goal for America is freedom. Abused and scorned though we may be, our destiny is tied up with America's. Before the Pilgrim Fathers landed at Plymouth, we were here. Before Jefferson etched across the pages of history the words that I just quoted from the Declaration of Independence, we were here. Before the beautiful words of the Star-Spangled Banner were written, we were here. For more than 2 centuries, our forebears labored here without wages. They made cotton king. They built the homes of their masters in the midst of the most oppressive and humiliating conditions. And yet, out of bottomless vitality, they continued to grow and develop. If the inexpressible cruelties of slavery could not stop us, the opposition that we now face will surely fail. We're going to win our freedom because both the sacred heritage of our nation and the eternal will of the Almighty God are embodied in our echoing demands. And we can sing, "We shall overcome," because somehow we know the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We shall overcome because Carlyle is right. No lie can live forever. We shall overcome because William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth crushed will rise again. We shall overcome because James Russell Lowell is right. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne, yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. We will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. And we will speed up that day when all of God's children all over our nation and the world will be able to walk the earth as brothers and sisters, and then we can sing, in the words of the old Negro spiritual, Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Thank you. It's amazing how much he knew then, right? And where we are today. Now we come to a section of service where we do small group discussion and we get to know each other a little bit. Please gather with a handful of others around you, maybe people new to you. And Monica's going to put some questions up on the screen. Discuss the first question for a few minutes, and then we'll pause, we'll bring you back, and ask you to start the second question. Okay, yeah, I'll read them. She's got them. What helps you stay awake to the slow, often frustrating work of change, especially when progress feels incremental or setbacks occur? Discuss. Okay, it's 4 minutes till. How much time does she usually give them? 3 or 4 minutes? This is a good question.
It is I mean, is this per question? Normally we just have one thing to discuss.
Let's do 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'll come back and do another 3 or 4 in a second.
Questions or two?
There's 2.
Well, something weird's going on with the slides. It just keeps flashing.
Oh, shoot. Is it flashing? So we had it center the questions. I should have thought of that. So I added them, right, while logged in as her, and refreshed, and it looked like we were all on the same page, so I thought I had them all in order. She can do it as well as I can to look for it. Wait a minute. Yeah. This could be a long discussion. It could be a forum.
Because I'm assuming,
They may be full. Amy Monson, Diana Long, Pete Asman.
okay, but what I'm saying is, it can't be on the first Sunday of April because that's Easter.
Oh.
And the choir is singing that day.
Okay.
Which means they will not be
They'll
in the
have to
forum.
move it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it also doesn't make sense to have it on the street.
Right, right.
So I was thinking, thought they might move it to the second Sunday just for that particular, only because Easter falls on the first Sunday.
It's the first Sunday, okay.
April 5th.
My son was born on April 19th, 1992, and that was Easter Sunday. April 19th is not going to be Easter 1974. Just the way the lunar calendar and the Advent calendar go, or Lenten rather.
Like you never know when it's like, is it April this year? Is it in March this year? Is it the beginning of April? End of April?
Yeah, it moves around.
So I would talk the name Pete.
Pete Asman?
Yes.
Diana
Where
Long
the other
doesn't
name
usually come.
goes.
Amy, I haven't seen Amy, but Amy, Amy's here second row. Amy Monson.
Yes. Okay. I'll go ask them. Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Thanks for looking ahead. Okay, it was 4 minutes till. It's about 1 minute till. Should I call it?
Switch.
Yeah.
Still
Not working. Yeah. Hello, everyone. We have a second question for you to consider together. Hello, everyone. You may transition to this if you don't have to, but if you want to. How do you understand your own role in a movement that began before you and will continue after you? What does faithfulness look like when we may not see the outcome of our labor? How do you understand your own role in the movement that began before you and will continue after you? What does faithfulness look like when we may not see the outcome of our labor? Discuss. All right, I'm done up here. See you.
Jay, you guys could have switched all the hands if you wanted. Rev Jen was like, can we switch to this? I'm like, absolutely. We'll roll with whatever. We'll switch it the day of it. Yeah, this is wrong. We're going to switch it to this. Just need the next ice age to start. It's like it needs to go get hot enough, and then we just have to have an ice age. Reset it all. That's what happened before. And we'll all die. Yeah. The dinosaurs will take over. Just gotta think long term here, millions of years. It's like I was hot once, and then eventually we got so hot that everything, we went back to cold. I understand the logic behind it. Maybe it's just part of the natural cycle. It's like, we should just figure out how to be nicer to them. Begin to wrap up your conversations. Oh, I said begin. We weren't quite there yet. Or I just said begin to wrap up your conversations. I invite you to come back. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, 169, We Shall Overcome. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We will walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall all be free someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall live in peace someday.
We shall overcome. When we can truly celebrate the diversity of contributions and talents offered by all people, we shall overcome hatred and prejudice and oppression. When we can truly extend our hands to one another in loving acceptance, we shall overcome the past that haunts us now. Living in peace and freedom, we shall overcome the wrongs that have happened and the debts left unpaid. Let us join together in that commitment to overcome. Let us say together, Amen. Amen. Go in peace.